Public Works. I'll be the hearing officer. So my job today is to listen to both sides, document it, make a recommendation to the director, and then the decision comes from the director as far as what happens with the appeal. So when you come up to the mic, I ask that you state your name and spell it slowly so I can write it down. I like to get your spelling correct as I send the information up to the director. Questions should be directed to me, not to the staff. And let's see. In theory, we have 3 minutes. We have a full agenda, but if you took the time to come down here, I don't want to hold you to 3 minutes if you have something important to say. But I simply ask you to be respectful of the person that's number 15 on the list as opposed to you being number 1 and getting out of here. If I think you're going on a little too long, I'll ask you to wrap it up. But we're not going to hold you to 3 minutes exactly if you have something to say. If you've all signed in, that's so we can get in contact with you if we need to. And I think that is it. Anything else I forgot? Okay. So we'll just go right down the list. If we call someone, you're not here, you'll wait till the end and we'll try you again, give you a chance if you got tied up with traffic or bus or things like that. So with that, we'll call item number 2, order number 201162, to consider the notice of violation 11929. The violation is for obstruction of the street sidewalk exceeding the scope of the permit and diverters not conforming to guidelines at 552 Green Street.
Good morning, Jessica Salami, Public Works. I'll be presenting all the cases today. On Friday, January 18th, around 2 p.m., an inspector responded to a complaint regarding tables and chairs on the sidewalk at 552 Green Street. Upon arrival, the inspector found cones and a display sign on the roadway, tables and chairs exceeding the scope of the permit and diverters not following permit guidelines. The inspector then issued a per-incident notice of violation number 11929 for cones and display sign on roadway exceeding the scope of tables and chairs permit and diverters not following permit guidelines for $300 on January 3rd. Notice of violation 11469 was issued for noncompliance of the same defects. The application for tables and chairs permit 19 TC 00043 was submitted on January 23rd, and it is in applicant status since last on the activity log of April 15th.
Okay, on these pictures, which of the
These are the initial photos from January 3rd.
so which would be the violation? The cone on the sidewalk?
The cone on the sidewalk, the chair, the Italian heritage flag with the post.
Okay.
And these were the inspections on January 18th as well. Same condition. Cones in the parking strip, the Italian heritage flag blocking off the parking.
Thank you. Is the appellant here? Would anyone like to speak on this matter? All right. Hearing none, we'll move on to item number 4. Order number 201163, to consider the notice of violation 12002. The violation is for no street space permit at 1061 Market Street.
Jessica Salami, Public Works again. On Friday, January 25th, around 10 a.m., an inspector responded to a complaint regarding the scaffolding in front of 1061 Market Street. Upon arrival, the inspector found scaffolding in the public right-of-way with an expired street space permit. The inspector then issued a notice of violation number 12002 for no street space permit for $1,000 per day. The violation was closed out on Monday, January 28th, with the penalty of $3,000 as a street space permit M1032007 was obtained.
Okay. Is the appellant here?
Hi.
Can you state your name and spell it for the record, please?
Hannah Gottfried, Hanagtfried.
G-O-T-T.
Fried.
Okay.
So
And you're the,
I am the property manager, so I'm agent for the owner.
okay,
So that, we were aware that the permit had expired, and we actually sent our general contractor down to renew it and to assume it, and they went to the wrong department, apparently, because it was a street, through the street permit department, and so we went down on that Friday, and we're not able to renew it where they went, to DBA, or DBI, rather. So we went the following Monday, and that was 3 days later, unfortunately. So I realize that our ignorance is not your problem, but I just thought I'd come down here.
I guess my concern is, I'm assuming you didn't put the scaffolding up, the general
No.
contractor did. They probably pulled the first permit. It's their responsibility. Do you have a
Yeah.
holdback from the contractor?
I don't even know, this is all new to me, so I've been trying to do some research internally to see who assumed that responsibility initially, and I cannot seem to find that information. And I've only had like a day or two to even look
Okay.
at it.
I'm sure if you need street use and mapping, can tell you who pulled the
I'd love to know that.
initial permit, and I would certainly look to them.
The
yeah.
initial permit was pulled by a Jennifer Chen.
That's the owner.
Okay?
Okay, all right. I will let her know.
Please
Thank
do.
you.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thanks.
Anyone in the public would like to speak regarding this matter? All right, hearing none, we'll close this one. We'll go on to item number 5. Order number 201164, to consider the notice of violation 12003 and 9315. Violation 12003 is for no street space permit and improper housekeeping. And violation 9315 is for no special traffic permit and no USA markings at 327 Capitol. Can we, what's that? See, mine's numbered wrong. Mine doesn't have a numbered 3, so that's what.
They corrected it.
Oh, did they correct it?
They
I didn't get the
corrected
corrected, but, all right. Well, okay, I'll figure it out. Can we go by these separately? You know, take the first violation, then we'll let the appellant speak, and then we'll go to the second, so that I keep them clear?
It's the same location, too.
So, I know it's the same
Yeah,
location,
yeah.
but just as far as the
Yeah.
violation, we'll speak to one at a time.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
History report for the NOV 12003. On Friday, January 25th, around 4 o'clock, an inspector responded to a complaint regarding construction activity at 327 Capitol. Upon arrival, the inspector found improper pavement base restoration over a trench. The inspector then issued a 72-hour correction notice for violation of permit conditions for improper restoration. Follow-up inspections on Monday, January 28th and Tuesday, January 29th showed that issues were not corrected, and notice of violation 12003 was issued for no excavation permit and improper housekeeping for $2,000 daily. The violation was closed out on February 8th with the final penalty of $28,000.
Okay, can we see the pictures in this one?
Yeah. That's these ones.
And so the improper base is the
You can see
compaction,
in the
or?
bottom left side, the trench was already sinking after it was done for one day.
Okay.
And it wasn't T-cut, there was no T-cuts on it, on any of the trenches, and nothing was squared off. So you can see the bell hole
Correct, okay,
in this photo.
okay. All right, would the appellant is the appellant present? Would you like to speak in regards to this, sir?
Yes.
Can you spell your name for the record, please?
My name is Bill William McFerrin, Ferren.
Okay,
Yeah, when we got the notice, it was late when we got this, but on the, I guess I had to address, the first was the improper permit.
Restoration. Violation of permit conditions for improper restoration, no permit, in-house.
Okay, yes, the permit where I have copies of the permit that we have. I think I sent that to Justin in the initial documentation. We got, PG&E was supposed to have this work done like a week before, and they delayed it. I pulled an extension of the permit, and I have a copy of the permit and the extension. I also have pictures of the repairs that we made to the area, if you...
Okay, were the repairs made after the, after?
You're right, it was, what happened was, it was, they got there, we didn't approve it, we didn't like it either. We went back to the contractor that did the work and made him do the repairs. You can see right, here's a copy of, oops, I'm sorry. Upside down, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Okay, so
Yes.
you had a sub performing this work?
I had a subcontractor performing the work, yes.
All right, and do you have a
But we
holdback?
pulled the permit.
Correct, do you have a holdback on him?
He's a small contractor, yes, we do, but like I said, it was, and then like I said, we spent another $28,000 to pave the whole section. After we met with Jennifer, she indicated that she wanted she wanted it, 50 foot on either side to clean up some of the other trenching that took place before we started on the job.
All right,
So we did everything she wanted. We got it cleaned up on Monday. When he removed his trench plates on Monday, we got it cleaned up, swept up, and everything else. And then when she ended up, we finally met after the Monday after we cleaned it up. She delayed the meeting with us until I think it was February 14th, and then that's when she ended it. And I thought that was unfair that she held out 10 days on that.
all right.
But I have other pictures showing that we cleaned up, made the trench right, and did everything, per her satisfaction. She just inspected it again Friday, or last week, and she was happy with it.
Okay, all right, great. Anything else on this one?
On the...
We'll go to the next one. We'll let the department speak to the next,
Okay, I think that was on the improper house cleaning.
well, so we'll go to the next violation, or?
The next violation was for no special traffic permit and no USA markings.
Okay. On the, when we pulled the permit, we were told we didn't need a special traffic permit. I have a copy of my permit and the work that was dashed on there. Here's a copy of the permit itself.
Right, I have that.
Okay, and this is the work that was described in the permit. It was shown as a PG&E drawing, and we were not told, and we weren't told, I was told we didn't need a special. I specifically asked if I needed a traffic plan. They told me I did not. And not only was that the statement in January when we did this work, when we did the patchwork when we did the patchwork in the street, we asked again if we needed a traffic plan because I got a violation for not having the right permit. They told me I did not need a traffic plan, that this permit would be adequate. That's all I needed was the permit, the excavation permit that we pulled.
You want to speak to that?
The special traffic permit
For the-
was required is always required when you close down a street in full. They were under the assumption that there would be one reversible lane at all times, per the Blue Book. Apparently, nobody reads the Blue Book anymore.
One of my superintendents said they were sweeping the street, and the tape was there for 10 minutes. They had the guys trying to sweep the street and get it out. And I wasn't told at that time. Again, I wasn't told when I asked them about that, the street use permit.
Okay. And Jennifer, what about the no USA?
The USA.
Yeah, the street
So
markings?
I called PG&E to ask if the USA ticket was valid, and they said it had already expired.
I have copies of my USA. The USA was taken out on December 27th. It's good for 30 days. My excavation of the permit was completed I think it was in January 1st. I called USA back up again to verify that. They said I don't need a USA if I'm not digging, and we weren't doing any digging. We were infilling the trench, and I was pouring sand in. We were doing no excavation, and they indicated that I didn't need an excavation at that point. But my USA was pulled on December 27th, and the work was completed by January 24th. The USA is good for 30 days, so even at that, my USA was still good.
So in other words, if the trench has not been filled, the USA permit still needs to be, okay.
And I have a copy of that USA here too, showing that it was pulled on the 27th, and it's good for 30 days.
I don't know, do I have that one?
But again, they're saying that if I'm backfilling, I am not doing any digging, not using any trenching, I don't need a USA.
Yeah, I don't see the dates on this one, on that.
Right here's the date,
Well, that's above the screen.
27th.
You gotta pull it
It's
down.
above the screen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Right there, you see the work begins on the 27th. That's when I pulled it. I pulled it when I was down there, and it's good for 30 days. But again, they're saying I didn't need a USA if I'm backfilling.
Can
If
I
you
point
look-
something out, John?
Yeah, well, you see, if it says expires 1/15/19.
No, I understand that, but,
Right there.
no, I understand that. But again, they were done digging. All I was doing was backfilling at the time. And they said I don't need a USA to backfill.
Okay, very good. Anything else? Anyone in the public want to speak on this? All right, hearing none, we'll close this item, and we'll move on to the next one. Okay, order number 201165, consider notice of violation 12090, the violations for no street space permit at 52 Yukon.
Decision could be about 5 to 10 days. Ready? Okay. On January 30th, an inspector responded to a complaint regarding the construction work at 52 Yukon Street. Upon arrival, the inspector found the contractors excavating without a valid street improvement permit and the temporary plywood on the sidewalk lifting up and unsecured. The inspector then issued a correction notice 12077 to correct the violations within 72 hours. On Thursday, January 31st, the inspector followed up and issued a 72-hour notice for no street space permit under correction notice 12079. On February 12th, an inspector followed up at the job site and issued a notice of violation 12090 for no street space permit at $1,000 per day. Permit number M1039187 was obtained on February 13th. The violation was closed out with a penalty of $1,000.
Is the appellant here? Sir? Okay,
Leo, MCFADDEN.
okay, thank you, sir.
Can I submit? Okay, that's fine. No, I know, I don't need to. I was going to submit it so that he has, thank you.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, sir, you can speak.
Okay.
I'll read this.
Yeah, no problem. I'm appealing this order and this fine because I received a phone call on Tuesday, January 29th from Leah Lentz. Leah said I needed a street space permit. I told her work has been suspended on the project as we were delayed waiting for PG&E to install gas service. So I asked her why a street space permit was required. She said it is required. I asked her again why. She said she did not know. She said Nancy Lynch would call me on Tuesday, February 5th. On Friday, February 1st, Francisco, an inspector, called and said I need to immediately fix the sidewalk. I told him Liam called me 2 days prior, and why didn't Leah tell me that? And he said that she did. I told him that was untrue and that Leah would be called by Nancy, and that Leah said I would be called by Nancy Lynch the following Tuesday. Francisco explained how the sidewalk should be made safe. I immediately went to the site, and after traveling to multiple suppliers to get asphalt, I made the corrections, I texted him the pictures, and he said he abated the complaint. I never received a phone call on Tuesday, February 5th, from Nancy Lynch, as Leah Lynch, the inspector, had said. Then I received a phone call on February 7th from Leah. She said I needed a street space permit. I said that work has been suspended on the project and asked why I need a street space permit. Leah didn't know the answer, but said she would get back to me. I told her that Francisco told me that he closed the violation on February 1st. I received a phone call later on February 12th. Leah said I need a street space permit or I'd be fined. I asked why a street space permit required where no work is being performed. She said, she repeated that I'd be fined if no street space permit is, I would be fined if no street space permit is obtained. I said if she notified me, I would have obtained the permit when I was available the prior week, and I would go to DBI as soon as I could. I obtained the street space permit the following day and called Leah to inform her. Then I received the only written paperwork on this matter in the mail on February 21st, including the fine. So I appealed this violation and fine based on the fact that the construction operation had ceased at the time of the violation. And I appeal this because I had never received I was never issued a violation or correction notice until I received this notice and fine in the mail. I also appeal this violation and fine due to the incompetence and failure of Leah Lentz, the inspector, to comprehend and explain the San Francisco Public Works Code and failure to respond as promised. And then further, the letter on February 9th from DPW fails to recognize that the violation had been abated prior to the date of the violation. Also, the correction notice was never issued, mailed, sent to me by any means. I only received it in the mail on February 21st. All I received before that was phone calls. And then a requirement by the Department of Public Works Code to obtain a requirement to get a street use permit conflicts with the Public Works Code. Public Works Code says, in no event may the director grant an extension of a street space occupancy permit for the purpose of building construction operations without confirmation by the Department of Building inspection or other proof to satisfaction of the director that there is ongoing work at the site under an active building or site permit. Ongoing work was not in progress as communicated to Leah Lentz on her phone call on January 29th. And so Public Works, in essence, engaged in fraud, as I was told multiple times that she would give me an answer to why I needed a street space permit, and then I never got that answer. And then also Inspector Francisco conflicts with Leah by saying that it was, the case was abated. The inspector is uninformed on the Public Works Code, and I think this appeal should be should be granted.
And you're the construction company performing the work, sir?
Yes.
MF Construction? Did you self-perform the street excavation?
Yes.
And you're located in San Francisco?
Yes.
Okay. I have nothing else. Anyone here want to speak on this matter? A member of the public?
Nancy Lynch, Inspection Supervisor at Public Works. I'm very aware of the situation here, and I think there was a miscommunication. Inspector Leah Lentz did inform Mr. McFadden. I was observing of the phone call. She did explain to him, anytime you work on the public right-of-way, whether the building job permit has been suspended, any work on the public right-of-way, you need to have street space. It's very clear in these photographs that work may have been suspended, but there was still an obstruction to the right-of-way. Francisco did a follow-up, Inspector Mendoza did a follow-up as well. This was reviewed at numerous meetings, and the conversations were had. So there's apparently some disagreement on what was said, what the codes are, and what was stated. Photos are pretty, it's pretty obvious on the photos that the public right-of-way was obstructed. They do need to get street space, and they do need to get the proper permits from Public Works, which is different from Department of Building Inspection. Thank you.
May I?
Go, sure.
Yeah, that is the answer I was looking from Leah Lynch, but she did not have that answer. She never gave me that answer. She did not know that answer.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next item, order number 201166. Consider the notice of violation 12227. The violations for no street space permit, missing tow boards, and missing visibility posts at 1800 Mission Street.
Jessica Salome, Public Works again. On Thursday, February 21st, around noon, an inspector responded to a complaint at 1800 Mission Street. Upon arrival, the inspector found missing tow boards, missing tow boards and missing visibility posts on, follow-up inspection, and a correction notice was issued for 72 hours. A follow-up inspection occurred on Monday, February 25th. As none of the violations were corrected, the inspector then issued notice of violation 12227 for a total of $3,000 per day. On Thursday, February 28th, a street space permit was obtained, and on Friday, March 1st, tow boards and visibility posts were installed. The violation was closed out with a final penalty of $8,000.
Great, is he Pellin here? Can you spell your name?
IAGALANG. I'm with JLL, the project manager for this project. So the building was sold with some work not completed, and we were in the process of working and getting our permits approved. There's also a change in contractor, and plant construction, the new contractor had not started. JLL had actually been renewing the permits, but the project manager who was renewing left the company. So there was a lapse. This notice was posted in the exterior of the building and not given to the guard. We have a 24-hour manned reception. And so the armory is pretty big, and it was raining that week of February 21st. And so all we got was a photo from the guard. Which the guard couldn't read, and he sent it to the property manager, who then sent it to me, and I sort of like figured out what the violation was about. We received this, and I received this on the 26th, and we got the street parking permit on the 28th, and paid the contractor to put up tow boards. Those tow boards are actually up, but they constantly get stolen, so we're constantly replacing them. But this is the reason we did not see the notice. It was wet in the rain and barely readable. I'm just a good guesser.
Okay, so when you purchased the building, the scaffold and things were already up?
Yes. I think there was some parapet repair work that was ongoing or had just started and was not completed. So we kept the scaffolding up to just protect pedestrians from just any loose debris falling.
And you changed the contractor in the middle of this?
No, so when the building was bought, there was about 6 months of new design work by new architects, and the work was actually in permit when we got the violation.
Okay, was Plant already on board?
They were in negotiations with the owner, so not officially on board. They were just contracted this month.
Very good. Anyone else want to speak on this matter?
Do you need a copy?
I have a copy. Which one's that? It's a new copy? Thank you. I think I have a copy of that. Thank you. Okay. All right. The next item, order number 201167. Consider notice of violation 12082. The violation is for no street space permit and excavating weather permit at 16 Fountain Street.
Jessica Salome, Public Works again. On Friday, February 8th at 11:30 a.m., an inspector responded to a complaint regarding construction work at 16 Fountain Street. Upon arrival, the inspector found that there was no street space permit and the contractor was excavating on the sidewalk without a permit. The inspector then issued a violation number 12082 for no street space permit and excavating on the sidewalk without a permit for $2,000. Street space permit M1037647 was obtained on February 21st.
Is the appellant here? Appellant?
My name is Karel Konvika. First name is Karel. Last name is Konvika, Kon, as Nancy, V as Victor, Icka.
Okay,
And I'm the property owner.
okay, thank you.
I would like to appeal the fine based on special circumstances at the time when the fine was issued. We were in a process of changing contractors. Our previous contractor, Mulhall Construction, was not very responsive, and we were changing contractor. At that time, no work was actually performed. So me as an owner, I knew that the permit was expired on the sidewalk, but I did not know that, if we were not performing any work and nobody was using the parking space, I did not know that I had to renew actually the permit when it wasn't used. So I went immediately the same day to Department of Public Works, from which they sent me to the Department of Building Inspection, where I obtained the permits. And several days later, and some correspondence later with a gentleman called Berhani Gamey at the Department of Public Works, it turned out that the excavation permit was not necessary, that it was just a sidewalk repair permit that we needed. So I would like to, appeal this based on the special circumstances of the, in the lifetime of the project, changing contractors. And unfortunately, I understand that as a owner, I supposed to be, I guess, aware of all these regulations, but I was not aware of the fact
You
that.
rely on the contract. Do you have a holdback from the original contractor, sir? Have you paid him in full, or does you still owe money?
It's still being negotiated. There's still some work actually that needs to be performed by him, and there's an overlap.
All right, very good. Any member of the public wish to speak on this? Okay. Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item. Order number 201168, consider notice violation 12089, violations for no street space permit at 4036 25th Street.
Jessica Salome, Public Works again. On Tuesday, February 12th, around noon, an inspector responded to a complaint regarding a porta potty in front of 4036 25th Street. Upon arrival, the inspector found the porta potty on the right-of-way without a street space permit. The inspector then issued a 72-hour correction notice, 12089, to obtain a street space permit or remove the porta potty from the right-of-way. On Friday, February 15th, the inspector performed a follow-up inspection as no permit was obtained and the porta potty was still in the right-of-way. Then issued notice of violation 12089 for no street space permit at $1,000 per day. An inspection on February 20th showed the porta potty was removed and the violation was closed out with a final penalty of $1,000.
Appellant, like to speak?
Hi, my name is Rafael Trickett Robles. First name is spelled A-E-L. Last name is Trickett-Robles, R-O-B-L-E-S.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
We received, or we found a pink notice, citation number 12089, affixed to our garage on February the 15th in the afternoon. This was the first notification that we had received about a violation. I noticed on the form that it appeared that there was another notification that had been affixed to the house previously, which we did not receive. We didn't receive any other kind of communication, whether by certified mail or a notification being left with somebody at the house. I did call and left a voicemail message with the inspector, as the individual had already left for the day, to let them know that this was the first notification and that we would be following up with our contractor. I also sent a letter and then contacted our contractor, who opted to remove the porta potty and did so on the 18th, which was within the 72 hours. So because this was the first notification that we had received, this pink copy, we based our follow-up or our addressing this issue on the date and time stamp, or the handwritten date and time stamp that's on the bottom of the form of February 15th at 2:13 p.m. 72 hours. The porta potty was removed just prior to 10 a.m. on the 18th, which was prior to 72 hours. So we did take the matter seriously, and again, we contacted our contractor, who opted to remove it rather than get a permit to keep it there, only because the work had stopped because of all the rain, and they hadn't been able to complete the painting job. I did receive some photographs from the department that show what I'm assuming to be the first copy of the citation taped onto our garage. But from the photographs, and I'm happy to show them on here, from the photographs you can see the tape is not affixed properly or puckered. It was also during the rainy season, the rainy period that we had recently. So I don't know if this washed away or if the kids from James Lick School, which is half a block up, tore it off, but we were never in receipt of this. It was only the pink copy, which again, we did follow up with within the 72 hours.
Who was the painting contractor?
Pardon me?
Who was the painting contractor?
Lamelli?
Okay. Were they working on the 12th?
They were, no, because it had been raining prior and after to that period, so they had stopped. They actually haven't resumed because of.
Okay. And this is an ongoing, just so you know, this is an ongoing problem with contractors, is that they know they need to get a permit, and they just come, and then, assume that most times they're not going to get caught. And so when they got caught, they pulled it, but they leave you leaving the hook, so.
Well, they hadn't been in our house since probably December or so.
Well, that's true, but they know they need to get a permit to put the porta potty there. They
Okay.
knew it when they ordered, you didn't order it, they ordered it.
We didn't order it, they did. Yeah.
They ordered it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the conversation is honestly with them. If the director, whatever the director decides, if there is a fine, that conversation is with is with your painting contractor.
Correct. But right. I understand that. But I feel that we did respond to the notification, again, the only one that we received on February 15th, and we did respond to and.
Oh, no, sir, you've been very responsive, but I mean, the issue is that they've left you here to answer questions that they should be answering. So, okay. Anything else?
Well, when I did speak with him, I mean, I understand that, I mean, I would not have known as the
No, of course not.
homeowner about this permit. When I did speak with him on the 15th, when we found this notice taped to our garage, and I called him, he said he And I do believe him, but he said that he has done a lot of jobs, and this is the first time he's ever heard that he needed the use permit for a porta potty on the sidewalk. I mean, that's
Or the first time he got caught. So anyway, no, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Any member of the public wish to speak on this matter? Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
The next item, 201169, to consider the notice of violation 12060. The violation is for no street space permit, improper housekeeping, and no visibility posts at 847 Cole Street.
Jessica Salome, Public Works again. On Thursday, February 7th, around 11 a.m., an inspector responded to a complaint regarding a porta potty in front of 847 Cole Street. Upon arrival, the inspector found a porta potty in the public right-of-way without a street space permit, improper housekeeping, and no visibility posts on the scaffolding. The inspector then issued correction notice 12060 to obtain a street space permit, remove the porta potty within remove the porta potty within 72 hours of the correction notice issuance. A follow-up inspection was conducted on Friday, February 15th, around 1 p.m. As the violations were not corrected, the inspector issued notice of violation 12060 for no street space permit and improper housekeeping and no visibility posts on the scaffolding for $3,000 per day. The violation was closed out on Tuesday, February 26th, with a penalty of $26,000.
Appellant is here? Sir?
Hello, my name is Jesus Hernandez. I own JH Painting Company. I had no idea there was a violation. I actually, I'm here to clarify why there was no signage. I completed the project on January 30th, 2019, in which I had my workers take off the netting and the signage because I was completely done with the job. I called my scaffolding company to dismantle the scaffold and called the porta potty to take the porta potty away. To my luck, Ted Ridgway, the owner of the property, was out of town, and YK Scaffold told me they would dismantle the scaffold, and he was also out of town, so I didn't know there was a delay in any of these items. This is the first time I've been cited for anything of that, for anything at all. And when the owner came back from holiday, he texted me to let me know there was a violation. By that time, it was already 2 weeks, 3 weeks into it, and that's why the violation was $26,000. It's roughly what, I mean, I didn't even charge him that much to do the house. So that's what I'm here for a little bit of leniency, and there was a little miscommunication between everybody, and I usually take off all the signage down when we're done, because they're gonna take away the scaffold and the porta potty.
So I guess my question is, what does the scaffold company have to say about this?
I asked him to take it down immediately, and he did so. And he let me know that, he goes, oh, well, been a delay. I guess they have too many projects, there was a delay. I had no idea he was gonna take that long to dismantle it. I do have an email from Ted Ridgway confirming that he got back 2 weeks later to inform me about the citation. So
Okay, but I guess the homeowner is not, he contracts with professionals to take care of the painting and things like that. So the issue is the porta potty and the, so you say you called to get him removed immediately.
correct.
Did you speak with the owner of the scaffold company or somebody?
Yes, I spoke to the owner, and he said he would be taking it down.
And so he waited 2 weeks?
Yeah, apparently so. I wasn't even on site anymore. I had already closed out the job, invoiced him and everything, and he's actually holding back a significant portion of my invoice until this gets resolved.
So what is your communication with the scaffolding company? He's left you holding the bag here, so to speak. I mean, is he just,
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. He dismantled it immediately when I called him. So,
well,
but that was
you said
after
you
the
called him
fact.
and he said he waited 2 weeks.
Yeah, he waited 2 weeks to dismantle
So he
it.
didn't dismantle it immediately.
Well, you're right, but I wasn't not aware of that.
No, I'm not saying you were. But so I guess my point is, just like the other gentleman, leaving you holding the bag here when you took care of business according to you, and they left you, didn't take care of business, and now they're leaving you with a $28,000 bill.
Yeah,
Are you still doing business with this scaffold company?
actually, I am.
Okay.
But I guess I'm gonna have a talk with him. But, so I'm here just to ask for leniency. There was an oversight on my part. I had no idea, and that's what I'm here to appeal to, ask for a little leniency.
Okay, all right.
Will they notify the owner of what the outcome is gonna be, or can they notify me? Because obviously I'm responsible, I did the job.
Honestly, I don't know. I could, can you help with this one? Will they notify the,
Nancy Lynch, Inspection Supervisor. I was at that site when we issued the violation. It was more for the porta potty than the scaffolding. If you note on in the photograph, I wasn't too concerned about where the placement of the scaffolding was because the property width, it was set back. The issue we had in that area were numerous porta potties blocking the sidewalk. I am the one that contacted the porta potty company. I'm the one that got it removed because the painter, the property owner, they all neglected it. It was more the focus on the porta potty. So they gave me a hard time as well for the porta potty.
who gave you a hard time? Nashville?
Finally got it removed, and that's fine. That was not a problem. This gentleman showed up at our bureau totally upset, concerned because the property owner did not notify him of what was going on. So the assumption there was the property owner would notify him. He came down to our office immediately. He did everything he did the proper way. I'm here almost in defense of the painter more than the obstruction itself, because I felt like the property owner, to this day, we've never heard from him. He's never contacted us. He's never notified us. This gentleman has reached out to us on numerous occasions to find out when his hearing was, what was going on, and I'm just kind of supporting a part of this, that he's not completely responsible for all of that, the fines. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Any member of the public wish to speak on this matter?
Yes, this is Alex Davison. I'm here for my own case, but it's just a comment. The scaffold companies generally, if you want to hire them, it could take a month for them to actually show up and put up the scaffold. That's how busy the city is. So for the removal of the scaffold, it's also a problem having to schedule them so that they get rid of the scaffold. That was just a comment.
No, I understand, and I guess my response would be, then you can extend the permit. Okay. Next item 201170, to consider the notice of violation, 12091, violations for no street space permit at 4195 17th Street.
Jessica Salami, Public Works again, on February 12th, around 2 p.m., an inspector responded to a complaint regarding a porta potty left in the right-of-way in front of 4195 17th Street. Upon arrival, the inspector found the porta potty on the Douglas Street frontage with an expired street space permit. The inspector then issued correction notice 12091 to the property owner to obtain a street space permit within 72 hours or remove the porta potty. On Friday, February 15th, the inspector performed a follow-up inspection. As no permit was obtained, the inspector issued a notice of violation 12091 for no street space permit at $1,000 per day. The porta potty was confirmed as removed on February 20th, and the inspector closed out the violation with the final penalty of $1,000.
Helen here?
Yes, I'm Alex Davison. I'm the painting contractor.
Okay.
What happened is we painted the house, and my very next job was right across the street. We had a few days of rain, and so basically I informed the porta potty company that I was just pushing the porta potty across the street, and they just had to change the address. They agreed to that, and we did that, and we started our next job across the street, where I didn't need a permit because there was enough space in the property to have the porta potty and not blocking the street or the sidewalk. And so a month later, the original owner of this property called me and told me that there are two notices of violation They had been in France, so I never received any notice of anything, and I just wasn't aware of it until a month later. My client was quite upset. But this was resolved automatically without even me knowing that an inspector had been by. So it was partly the rain. You can actually see the street. So if it was a day or two after they expired or something like this,
Well, apparently the permit was never taken out for the porta potty. Was it? Did you take out a?
There was a permit for that. I'm sorry, I don't have any paperwork with me, but
Oh, it expired. Okay, all right.
so it was resolved even without me noticing that an inspector had been by. So I didn't. I mean, if someone had called me, it would have been done within half an hour, because I pulled the permit. The owner wasn't even in town.
You are correct, sir. The permit was pulled. It expired on 10/1/19. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Next item, order number 201171, to consider a notice of violation. 12276, the violations for improper site protection, improper storage of materials, improper housekeeping, violation of permit conditions at 4093 24th Street.
Jessica Salome, Public Works again. On Tuesday, February 26th, around 4 p.m., an inspector responded to a complaint regarding shifted plates at 24th and Castro Street. Upon arrival, the inspector found 5 loose plates with no pins or welds or wedges or cut back on most plates, a pile of concrete and asphalt, a small trailer with sand and a pile of uncontained sand next to it, and work being done next to a muni bus stop without a special traffic permit. The inspector then issued notice of violation 12276 to Triton Tower for failure to remove excavated materials daily and improper site protection, improper storage of sand and materials, and violation of permit conditions for $4,000.
Sure.
I don't think we can say anything to those violations. We did violate that. I think we just got in over our head, and as soon as we were notified, we corrected all of those violations, and we're in contact with the inspector and worked with them closely for the remainder of this project. 4,000 is.
Are you Rex?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So just 4,000 is a detrimental amount for a small contractor like us. We got in, like I said, a little over our heads for this work in San Francisco, but made the corrections and worked with the inspector to get them all corrected.
And who are you doing this job for?
AT&T Wireless. So most of our jobs are rooftops in the city. This was the first work through a street for PG&E.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Any member of the public wish to speak on this? Okay, hearing none. Okay, the next item. Item number 201172, consider notice of violation 12148, violations for no street space permit at 2737 Polk.
Jessica Salome, Public Works again. On Tuesday, February 26th, around 10:30 a.m., an inspector responded to a complaint regarding a porta potty at 2737 Polk Street. Upon arrival, the inspector found a porta potty in the public right-of-way with an expired permit. The inspector then issued correction notice 12148 to HCG Associates to obtain a street space within 72 hours or remove the porta potty. On Tuesday, March 5th, the inspector performed a follow-up inspection as no permit was obtained, and then issued a notice of violation 12148 for no street space permit at $1,000 per day. Final inspection was performed on Wednesday, March 6th, and revealed the porta potty was removed. The violation was closed out with the final penalty of $1,000.
Is the appellant here? Any member of the public wish to speak on this matter? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item. Item number 201173. To consider notice of violation 12010, the violations for no street space at 171 Second Street.
Jessica Salome, Public Works again. On Wednesday, March 6th, around 3 p.m., an inspector responded to a complaint regarding scaffolding in front of 171 Second Street. Upon arrival, the inspector found scaffolding in the public right-of-way with an expired street space permit. The inspector then issued correction notice 12010 to obtain a renewed street space permit or remove the scaffolding within the right-of-way of 24 hours correction notice issuance. A follow-up inspection was conducted on Thursday, March 7th, around 9 p.m., as no street space permit was obtained nor renewed. The inspector then issued a notice of violation 12010 for no street space permit for $1,000. The street space permit M1049567 was obtained on March 11th.
Hi. My name is J.C. Reyes.
Okay.
J.C. Last name is R-E-Y-E-S.
All right.
And I'm with Western Specialty Contractors. We're the restoration contractor on this job. So this is a historic project that we initially were called to on a report of falling brick from the building. Our intent and what we proceeded to do was to secure the building with netting and immediately obtain canopy protection for the public safety. We had that for several months before our engineer of record was able to determine the scope and do a full assessment. Once we've established that, he obtained the permits through DBI, and then we again renewed scaffolding, canopy, sidewalk protection, and the required parking permit documents. At the same time, there was a major public works project going on 2nd Street. It's a capital improvements project, full street, street lights, and sidewalk. After approximately 2 months of being on the job, we were notified from DPW that we had to remove our whole protection canopy and setup. We explained that this was not there out of sort of a maintenance or convenience. From our part, it was actually mandated by the city for us to have it there. In the packet that I provided you is just a record of the emails between myself and the contractor doing the capital improvements project and our engineer of record, where he states that it is against his recommendation to remove the canopy as it poses a immediate danger to the pedestrians, likewise to the workers that are, at that time working on the sidewalk itself. So we agreed to meet there. We were told, let's go and meet out the site and, find out what our options are. What that really means is we're going to go there and then we're going to tell you what you can and can't do. And so we were asked to modify the canopy. All of this is at our expense. We've modified the canopy a total of 3 times during the time that we've been there. Once to remove it away from the corner. This is a building at the corner, so that corner did need to be protected. We removed the physical canopy that was in contact with the sidewalk, replaced it with a cantilever, then removed the cantilever to allow for light signal testing for some new light signals to rotate. After that, we were told that that was still not good enough and that it still had to be removed. So in the end, we completed everything. The first time that we were there, we essentially purchased a permit that we were not able to use. We paid for parking, which again, because of the street work, we were not allowed to use. I was asked if I would like to seek a refund and or, just keep in contact with them and, we would essentially just work something out. The overall cost, I guess, of the fine, compared to sort of the public safety, it's not really a matter of discussion. Safeties are always is always going to be our main concern, and so I just wanted to bring this to the board and to yourself, mostly because I feel like there's a lot that can be obtained from this from all parties. DPW making a decision to remove something that's there for public safety, going against the engineer of record. There's a lot of potential for undue liability and safety.
Sir, I think, you've obviously done a lot of work on the project, and so that's, I know the city appreciates it and Public Works appreciates it. The issue on this one is just the scaffold permit expired. Can you, that's the issue. You had a permit, it expired, and it wasn't renewed in time. So can we speak to that? 'Cause
Sure.
that's the only issue that's really.
So that specifically, when we did obtain our permit, it was a permit that we were not able to use. So we paid for the street space and parking. We were not able to use the parking.
Correct.
So I was offered a refund and/or to get the street space only extended. So I did not follow on my part with a proper paperwork trail and
So
request a
it's-
formal
okay.
refund. And I was trying to work with both my inspectors, which have been both very accommodating, so.
All right, that
Okay,
answers.
thank you, appreciate it.
Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, the next item, order number 201174, notice of violation 12113, violations for missing visibility posts at 150 Randall.
Jessica Salome, Public Works again. On March 2nd, around 9 a.m., an inspector responded to a complaint regarding the scaffolding in front of 150 Randall Street. Upon arrival, the inspector found scaffolding in the public right-of-way with no visibility posts. The inspector then issued correction notice 12113 to install visibility posts on the scaffold within 72 hours. A follow-up inspection was conducted on Tuesday, March 5th, around 10:30 a.m. as visibility posts were not installed. The inspector then issued notice of violation 12113 for $1,000 per day. The violation was closed out on Wednesday, March 6th, with the final penalty of $1,000 as visibility posts were installed.
The appellant here. Would anyone like to speak on this matter? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item. Order number 201175, considered notice of violation 11776. The violations for improper site protection, improper housekeeping, and inadequate sign posting at Folsom Street and 4th Street.
Jessica Salome, Public Works again. On Monday, March 11th, around 3 p.m., an inspector responded to a complaint regarding unsafe roadway conditions with potholes 5 feet wide and deep, loose gravel, and handwritten signage on a construction site at the intersection of Folsom and 4th. Upon arrival, the inspector found potholes from excavated areas, loose gravel on the roadway and sidewalk, and curb ramps with handwritten no parking signs. The inspector then issued correction notice 11776 for improper ramping, failure to sweep the site at the end of each day, and inadequate sign posting to be addressed within 4 hours. A follow-up inspection was conducted on Tuesday, March 12th, around 11 a.m., as none of the violations were addressed, and the inspector issued notice violation 11776 for improper ramping, failure to sweep the site at the end of the day, and inadequate sign posting for $3,000 per day. The violation was closed at the end of the day on Tuesday, March 12th, with the penalty of $3,000 as the issues were addressed.
Okay. So this one's the handwritten sign down the bottom left?
Yeah, on the bottom left and also on the top right, you can see it.
Okay.
And all the loose gravel you can see in the top left, and then all the potholes on the bottom right mostly. It was like driving through Baghdad.
Okay, very good. Is the appellant here? Sir? I'm sorry, what, again,
Speak into the
please?
microphone.
Excuse me, I have a cold. My name is Gary Elginson. I'm a senior engineer for Tudor's Perini Corporation, and I'm responsible for that work site. So with regard to this citation, we have it issued as 11776. And we received formal notice, a written notice stating something different. But it did include 4th and Folsom. However, it includes other locations which are in the formal document that that are not within our project limits. So in essence, on page 1, attachment 1 here, it states 664th or 4th Street, Mina Street to Howard, that's not within our contract project limits.
Okay.
We're therefore not responsible. We didn't perform any work there.
So, John, that's just a clerical error. On the actual violation itself, it reads Folsom at 4th Street. And we could have that adjusted on
Well,
that notice.
I'd like to make that, just for the formal point, this is a courtroom, therefore I'm going to also note that on page 2, it has that same statement that part of this citation is issued for 4th Street at Mina Street. This is not within our contract limits. And I think it applies to page 3 where these same issues are are written. So that, I wanted to bring that point up first. Okay. So with regard to 4th and Folsom, so TPC, Tutor Perini has a pretty major, sorry, Tutor Perini. Okay. Thank you for orientating me. So TPC has a significant project. We have 4 different sites on the Central Subway project. We have worked at most of the major intersections on 4th Street in the 4th Street alignment and have been successful with getting traffic control plans through Department of Parking and Transportation. However, during the period of time prior to this citation, we worked on 4th and Folsom for SFMTA, performing both contract work and change order work. We had significant change orders that in duration, some lasted up to 2 years. The change order work was issued to us by SFMTA. However, the work was performed either for PG&E, and PG&E at times worked there, and TPC, we worked and had our subcontractors working on behalf of San Francisco Water Department. And there were major changes there. So both in the design that took a long time and delayed our work, and then there was other work that, of course, had to be performed. So this document, we finished change order work in November of 2018, which brought us into the, right into the wet season. And as you know, this last season was, we had a significant amount of rainfall. We couldn't perform any of the work prior to that for the street restoration, and basically all the complaints that were written by Department of Public Works are all for street restoration that we were not able to perform. So during the process of the last 5 years, our traffic supervisor puts together traffic control plans. He's put together, Mr. Batista, who's here with me, has put together over 1,200 traffic plans for the city. And for 4th and Folsom, we started off by doing the curbs, gutters, and shoulder work that was basically in the 4 quadrants of the intersection, exteriors. When we came to the inside, we submitted, and I'm sorry I have to pick this up because I can't read it from there. We submitted several times to do the road-based restoration, and we had rejections starting back in December. We were able to accomplish some of the street work, the curbs, gutters, but when it came to the intersections, we were not able to get an approved plan. And that was because there's a significant review period. Then there's a And then there were changes made, and those changes had significant cost impacts. So per our contract requirements, we're required to go to SFMTA to notify them of changes in cost. And there was problems with resolving the cost impacts. And this just was a delay pushing us into March. So when we received this citation, which on the very last page has a notification, it was written at 2:45 p.m. However, that document was sent to SFMTA directly, since that's the way that it was directly sent to SFMTA. They didn't send it to us till 3:47 in the afternoon. And this particular citation gave us 4 hours to accomplish, 4 hours to, I don't know if it was to complete the work or start the work. However, this was sent late in the day, and it was impossible to mobilize people that already got home, and we'd be having rainstorms during that period. There was no chance of getting organized to be able to perform the work or even to get the materials late in the day. So as many of the plants aren't, they shut down when we have that kind of inclement weather. So it was pretty much impossible for any contractor to do much other than maybe sweep the area. And so we worked on that and completed the work started the next day. We did everything we can. We did our due diligence, and I don't think that I think the fine should be waived. We responded promptly. I don't know that it's reasonable to expect a contractor to get notified at the close of business day and then accomplish something overnight.
Okay.
So I think there's several points here. One, the document's incorrect and should be, in a normal court, I think it would probably be thrown out. But secondly, I don't think it's reasonable for DPW to expect us to start at the close of day. And we were able to get, after this, we got some resolve from the Department of Parking and Transportation, where they did accept a traffic plan that allowed us to work in one long continuous shift. And we accomplished that work, and there's no further problem there. We weren't able to complete that contract work only because of city changes made by the city that pushed us into the rainy period. And then their inability to really provide us with a workable traffic plan. Our contract documents do not include a traffic plan for Fourth and Folsom, so it was up to the contractor to try to provide something that was acceptable. And as I said, we've successfully submitted over 1,200 plans, and this one was one that was very difficult to get acceptance and a plan that worked for all parties.
Let me just respond to some of the questions I think the director would have. I looked at your appeal letter, and you note that, the delays from MTA for the site work. And having worked in the city, I know that things often take a long time. But isn't that permit essentially the permission to move forward with the work, so you really can't move forward or don't have permission to move forward on any kind of work without the permit? So I'm not just kind of part and parcel with the work that you do as a contractor working on city jobs.
Okay, so are you referring to the excavation permit?
I mean, you note about the traffic plan and the various things that you couldn't get permits for, and that those delays in having the permits issued was some of the cause for this work.
Traffic permits, those permits shouldn't take months to get approved.
Well, I'll acknowledge that a lot of things in the city shouldn't take what they do, but they do. And as a contractor that's been working on this job for so long, the director's going to say, you're working with the city on this project of this magnitude, you would know sometimes the delays in the permit process.
So within our contract, CN 1300, we have other major intersections that we worked on. I think Market, and I might ask for some assistance.
Well, we can just speak to this intersection. I mean, the other intersections aren't necessarily germane to this issue here. So, I mean, the appeal letter, you note the delays in the permits, but the permit is what gives you the permission to move forward. So without the permit, you really can't move forward.
Well, the delay the delay is one thing, that's a time issue. Okay, but the reason for the delay was because there was no plan provided within our contract documents for Fourth and Folsom. And there's other intersections, major intersections within our plan set that included traffic control plans that told us exactly what to expect, that it would define the work hours, the number of quadrants or the locations, and the different types of traffic control equipment. Whereas Fourth and Folsom they failed to identify what we needed.
Okay, but so this is a new scope of work that you needed to work out as
Well, the city didn't even have plans for it, so
probably why they hired professionals to help them with it. But anyway, so let's move on from the next one. I want to acknowledge that letter that came out is incorrect. So you are absolutely correct. That letter on Fourth and Minute and that. But that is not what the citation is about. So you say at the end of the day you couldn't get crews to work. What time's your crews leave?
our crews typically start at 6 a.m. and leave at 2:30. Sometimes we have guys that might stay till 3 o'clock, but typically, especially during the winter, they start early and they go home and that was an extremely wet period at that time. So we didn't have a lot, so the crews that work operating engineers that do excavation, and because of the wet conditions, we didn't have a lot of people working.
Well, that's true, but I'm looking at the pictures and it looks pretty dry to me. So, I mean, I know it was an extraordinary.
Well, that was the following day, right?
Okay, so you're saying it was rainy on well, let's look at the picture. Can you pull up the picture
This
of
is the initial inspection.
Can we pull up that picture? So if that's the initial inspection day,
Well, I think that looks, whose truck is that? I think that we had done some work. We had done some work out there, and regardless, if we didn't get notified that there was a problem. And when we did, it was late in the day, and we responded the following day. We jumped right on it.
okay.
But
I understand, but I mean, so do you have the option of holding crews over?
I'm sorry?
Do you have the option of holding workers over to perform additional work?
No, they're typically, all of our people are union people, and as I said, this was written at 2:45. We didn't receive it till almost 4 o'clock, and those people have gone home.
So you had no crews whatsoever at the job site?
No. Most of our people in the field are gone by, almost exclusively are gone by 3 o'clock.
And do you have the option of calling people back if there's an emergency or a problem?
We could try, but again, I'm not sure that we would be able to get materials.
Well, that's true, but, I mean, you could have performed sweeping, you could have performed some of the work that was noted in this violation. Is that possible?
I guess anything is possible, sir. Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
No, that's all I have.
And anyone in the public want to speak on this matter?
Dave, is there anything? Well, you saw
Sure, come on up.
basically this log.
Go for it.
Yeah, and then he has a copy of this, right?
I have to add something about.
Oh, okay, you do.
Yeah, I just want to address about the improper signing that we have violated in there. So we did the handwriting on those signs, though no parkings at that time, because they're still in the process of extending our excavation permit because it was expired. So DPW and one of our engineer at the office are still processing that time. So we have to handwritten those signs because people are parking in our area, which is, how do you do this? How you, excuse me, how do you? There you go. So if you notice, this is Folsom right here, and this is Fort. This area is where we put our signs. That's in our contract to put, to work in that area. So we have to protect that area. So we have to protect the area for safety for the people so that they won't park in there. But they're still parking. So we have no choice to do a handwritten for those signs.
No, and I appreciate that, and safety always comes first, so I get that. But the question the director will say is if the permit was still being worked on, you didn't have the authority to put the signs there. In other words, if it's still in the process, the permit has not been granted to allow you, even if there's unreasonable delays, which there may have been, if there are unreasonable delays and the permit has not been granted, then you don't have authority to block out those spots. That's my understanding, but correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Your Honors. Yeah, sure.
Sorry, could I?
Sure.
So we've had an excavation permit for the project since 2013, and we've gone through renewal processes continuously. But this last time around, there was new people that were maybe unfamiliar with the site, and they delayed that process. And they came up with some questions that went actually to SFMTA. SFMTA had to answer, but it was holding back. They weren't responding to our. They didn't like our responses that we had given them. We had to get information.
I understand.
It's something completely that we had previously got renewal after renewal after renewal, and then this just happened at the time where we were not able to make it happen fast enough.
All right, very good. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay.
You're welcome.
Anyone else want to speak on this matter? Okay, let's move on. Last item. Order number 201253, consider notice of violation 11446. Violations are for no street space permit and improper housekeeping at 44 Fifth Street.
Hey, John, this one was postponed.
Oh,
Yeah.
but there are no more items. All right.
Oak Street?
Did I miss Polk Street?
No, it was earlier. She just showed
Oh,
up.
you came in, okay. All right, let me put so 44 Fifth Street's postponed.
44 Fifth Street is postponed. It's on the agenda. It's
We had no speaker on
item
board.
number, yeah, she's here now,
Okay,
if you want to hear it.
yeah. If you came, we're going to hear it.
Okay.
Let me find it.
It's order 201172.
76, thank you. 75, 74, 75. Use bad words. can't find it. All right, go ahead. I don't know why I don't have this. Go ahead.
Good? All right. Jessica Salome, Public Works, on Tuesday, February 26th, around 10:30 a.m., an inspector responded to a complaint regarding a porta potty at 2737 Polk Street. Upon arrival, the inspector found a porta potty in the public right-of-way with an expired street space permit. The inspector then issued correction notice 12148 to HCG Associates to obtain a street space within 72 hours or remove the porta potty. On Tuesday, March 5th, the inspector performed a follow-up inspection as no permit was obtained and issued a notice of violation number 12148 for no street space permit for $1,000 a day. Final inspection was performed on Wednesday, March 6th, and revealed that the porta potty was removed. Violation was closed out with the final penalty of $1,000.
Hi, my name is Hannah. So I present
And the last name?
Torrisi.
Spell it, please.
Torrisi.
T-U-R-I-S-I? How you spell the last name?
Torrisi.
Okay, very good, thank you.
I represent the company HCG Associates for this
Okay.
matter. We was working on Polk Street from last year for soft storage. And the tenants had some issue, they can't move out, so the job was stopped in last year. And from January, no one working there, and then we just totally forget the permit thing, and the permit was expired, and no worker working there, and the toilet still there on the sidewalk. When we received the contact from the inspector, we realized, oh, we need to move it. We contacted the toilet company, and but they didn't show up. Then we sent a worker go over there, put the toilet in the garage, and daytime take it out for the company can pick up. The inspector say, oh, still on the street, we give you a ticket. So that's,
So you put it in the garage and then you put it back on the street for the toilet company?
yeah, for the company,
pickup.
for pickup.
Have you talked to the toilet company about this not having a permit?
I didn't deal with this matter directly, but the contractor, they called, they told them, hey, we are going expired, you must take it away. But sometimes people just don't show up.
Do you have a holdback with the contractor? Have you held money back from the contractor?
Yeah, actually, the contractor was keeping paying it.
The contractor paid for the toilet, right?
Yeah, I think that's automatically just take for his account. He didn't realize that.
So have you kept money back from the contractor because the contractor caused you to get a fine?
Yeah, maybe should do that. No, I didn't.
No?
Didn't do anything.
Has the work been completed?
You mean the toilet company?
No, the work for the contractor.
The work for,
Has the contractor completed all of his work?
no, it's still the work.
Still on the site?
Still, yeah, because tenants had some issue with the owner and they use lawyer to, finally, they are going to move out in, I think it's July 1st, then the contractor can start the work.
So you same contractor?
Yeah, same, but what I heard is it's already get a new street parking permit. They have a new street parking permit right now. And also put a new toilet on the street right now.
Okay, well, okay. I mean, the problem is the contractor is responsible to get the permit, and they're leaving you kind of on the hook here with the fine.
Yeah.
So I think you need to have a conversation with the contractor.
I think so, yeah.
All right, anything else? Any member of the public wish to speak on this matter? Hearing none, anything else you want to add, ma'am?
That's it.
Thank you very much for coming. Okay, what we'll do is we'll make the recommendations to the director and go from there. Thank you. Okay. Gee, I know I had that. I know I saw that file, but I can't find it. I print them all up, and I know I saw a file.